So we'll knock this out and be on your. Now you got Julie back today, right?
First day back, yeah.
Have fun with that. I'll be listening.
Glad I got all my Trump jokes in early.
All right, in 3, 2. And now it's time for another St. Louis 7, following an episode on OT with Oliver, wherever you get your podcast. This week's episode, John Carney, 30-plus years on the mic, currently in KTRS, noon to 3. Had a good time. Thanks for your patience. It took a while to get to this point, but we're here, and you look fabulous.
Yeah, well, thanks for getting around to me. I noticed I was checking the menu and the interviews with your fifth grade janitor from your school making the list, and finally making it to me. I'm that close to being incredibly honored.
But the janitor was a good episode.
Well, yeah, sure, good guy. Did the charges ever stick with him or no?
Pending.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
All right, before we get started, John, you've been involved with Carney's kids a long time. We talked about it on the podcast. Plug away. Tell everybody what you got going on nowadays with Carney's kids.
Wow, a lot. Thank you for that. A lot of stuff, but like a lot of charities, we're reinventing ourselves. And last year was our 20th year of our Carnival, which is our big party with comics and restaurants and all that. And we're still going to do it in February, but it's going to be virtual, where the show is going to be online, but we are going to take the food and the drinks that people would normally enjoy and bring them to those folks who can join at different levels and have a party. And, whatever level you join at, we go from White Castle hamburgers to shrimp scampi. It's your call. But details on that to follow. We're going to do a trivia night, the October 24th, also virtual. So it's a brave new world, but everybody's doing it. So I think, even the most technologically challenged will be able to find their way around and enjoy these things online, just because that's what we got to do now. So still back at it and raising money for the organization. And if you'd like to help as a volunteer or donate or what have you, just learn more about our charities, kid-based organizations in St. Louis, go to carneyskids.org. Thank you, David.
Very cool. All right, first question, as we do, John, you started at Country Day. You finished up at CBC for high school. What do you remember about our high school years?
What do I remember about our high school years? Well, my junior and senior year of high school at CBC, I had an apartment, and I was the only kid at the school with the apartment. So that's a wash. I remember very little of that experience. 7th grade at Country Day, I recall seeing trust funds that would choke a circus animal, most of these kids, which I didn't have to fall back on. And Chaminade, I had so much fun, I didn't realize they were offering academics. And after 4 failing marks, the Marianists said, we're Christian, but we can only take so much. And so it was out of there. And 2 years in the military academy in Indiana, which is why I'm so incredibly disciplined. Sir! There you go.
Good answer. Next question. Balabands was a hot spot there for a while. You got a good Balaban story?
It was a fun time to be around. I guess it would be the equivalent of being, young and spry and having metabolism and staying out all night in New York when you were a bouncer at Club 54. I mean, it was just insane. To say there were a few drugs, kind of an understatement there. But at the time, everybody was doing it. So there was a justification. And just got to meet all kinds of interesting people, and the food was good, and culture. And I think I already mentioned the drugs. So I'm glad it was only about a year or so of my life. Otherwise, we probably would be doing this posthumously.
What was it like to work with Dick Cavett?
Intimidating at first. I mean, I wrote for him for about 8 years, and I was in my mid-20s, so I don't think I knew his legacy, which didn't get in the way of being intimidated, but I was intimidated by the fact that, you know, he would take a call from Mel Brooks while we were in the studio, or one time we were in the studio with him in New York, and he's opening his mail, and I watch him throw a thing in the trash can, and it's an invitation to a party that Paul Newman and Tom Cruise were having for their new movie, The Color of Money. And I said, so you don't want that? He said, no. I said, can I represent? And he said, sure. So I fished it out of the trash can, and I went to a party that Tom Cruise and Paul Newman threw in Dick Cavett's place. And so, I mean, it was that kind of stuff that I don't think I knew how lucky I was.
And you brought your own pool stick?
I've still never seen the movie.
Okay. When you go out to custard, what do you get?
When I go out for custard, do I look like I eat healthy like that?
It's a common question we ask everybody.
Oh, I usually go and ask for the McGraw, because then they say, who? What? Or if I'm not feeling particularly adventurous, I'll get the Charles Brennan, which of course is vanilla with extra vanilla topped with vanilla. Sorry, Chuck, that's one of my favorite jokes.
You encounter 10 stop signs. How many do you roll?
Not as many as Tony La Russa. So there's, of course, I really shouldn't be making those kinds of jokes. I don't really have a place to, although I was on the highway, if you saw the article. I'm pretty good at the Missouri rolling step. I try not to be, but my kids now call me out on it when I roll through a stop sign in my golf cart in Newtown. So I'm better about it now that I'm older.
Folks come and visit you. Where do you take them in St. Louis?
I don't really have any friends, so nobody comes to
People
see
come
me.
and visit your wife. Where do you take them?
I'll drop them off at the hotel, and no, I probably shouldn't say any of that. Never mind. Obviously, you got to go to the Hill. You got to take in the grocery stores, that experience. Yeah, I definitely would gravitate towards food and barbecue and Sugar Fire and Pappy's. Outside of food, if they're golfers, I think golfing in Forest Park, although it's not the best golf course, it's certainly a great way to see one of our gems here in town. So I would say that, and where I live out in Newtown, we've got 6 lakes, and I've got a couple kayaks, so we would go out on the water and hit the bike trails. And yeah, it's a lot different than the old days where it'd be, you know, hey, you want to see Washington Park, Illinois at 3 a.m.?
All right, so as we get ready to wrap this up, again, St. Louis 7 on YouTube. If you want to check out other St. Louis 7s with my 5th grade janitor and other folks, you can check it out. Just Google OT with Oliver. Want to hear the podcast, John's podcast, OT with Oliver, wherever you get podcasts. If you want to subscribe, hit the little subscribe button on your screen. John, this is the last question we ask everybody. What makes you proud to be a St. Louisan?
Proud to be a St. Louisan. I'm on my 2nd round of children. I think this is an amazing place to raise a family. And I've got extended family out in California, and I grew up in California, but the cost of living and just the attitudes there seem to vary with the times. I think it gives my children a good grounded education. It gives them solid friendships. Several of my friends have been my friends since my many high schools. So I think that sense of family and friendship that we have here in the Midwest, probably what I'm most proud of.
I enjoyed it, man. Good to meet you. Good to see you again. Stay healthy. Stay out of trouble.
I'll do all those things. I appreciate it. Tell your janitor I said hello.
See you.
Fascinating guy.